Good evening, everyone, respected colleagues, dear participants. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to day 2, session 4 of our faculty development program titled as Data Preparation with Power Query. We're privileged to have with us a distinguished guest, Dr. Robin Rohit, Professor and HOD, Presidency University, as our expert for this session, who will be sharing his valuable insight with us this evening. Let me introduce him to you all. Dr. Robin Rohit Vincent holds a bachelor degree in electrical and electronics engineering in 1998 and master degree in computer science and engineering in 2000 and a PhD in computer science in 2003. Currently pursuing a postdoctoral fellowship 2024 at City University of London, UK, highlighting his dedication to ongoing research and innovation. He currently serves as professor and HOD in Presidency School of Computer Science and Engineering at Presidency University, Bengaluru. With over 25 years of dedicated experience in higher education, he has taught at prestigious institutions across India and internationally. Dr. Robinson's professional journey includes serving as head of Educational Technology Center, as Chief Technology Officer at the University of Technology and Applied Science, IBRA, Sultanate of Oman. He is a certified Cisco instructor and specialized in computer engineering, focusing on computer networks, security, artificial Internet of Things, and generative AI. His research contributions span numerous scholarly articles published in esteemed journals, indexed in SCI, WS, and Scopus. As a dedicated researcher, Dr. Robin mentors PhD students, external reviewers in PhD doctoral committee, and reviews PhD dissertations. Contributes as a journal reviewer for IGI Global and other esteemed publishers, and has authored research papers, books, book chapters, and holds patents in his field. He is a member of esteemed professional associations, including the International Association of Engineers, the Computer Society of India, and All India Association of Educational Research and the Institution of Engineers. Sir, please join me in welcoming Dr. Robin Rohit as we look forward to learning from your vast experience and expertise. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was a very exhaustive introduction, ma'am. Yeah.
Pleasure, sir.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay.
Go
So
for
good
slideshow,
evening.
sir. Slideshow, it's okay, good.
Yeah, it's come, na? I made
Yes.
slideshow already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's correct. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So today we'll dwell into the most awaited concept or maybe industry requirement of how data can be prepared, because as you know, now data is gold. Anything on data we get, it's like gold, equal to gold. So how this data can be prepared and how it can be, the intelligence that is can be read from that particular data, we will see using a particular tool called Power Query. I've done within the 1 hour and 1.5 hours. I don't know how much justification I would be able to do in covering some tools or some areas. Let's see how much I can cover up. Now, let me start with some introduction part wherein why do we need to have this data being prepared? So as I feel, data becoming a goal process, the process of cleaning and transforming and enriching any data, then only it will be helpful in your analysis part. Now, if I take the raw data and use it, I may not be able to substantially use that particular data, or maybe I will not be able to produce any valuable result out of my data that I have. So cleaning becomes, or maybe we can say data preparation becomes a rather very important process in creating any model that you are actually built in. Datas are available, plenty of datas are available, but how do we prepare it? How do we cleanse it? How do we make it useful data? That plays a major role. And one of the tool that is being used widely is the Power Query. We have plenty of other tools as well. Now, when I talk about cleaning of data, it not just involves just removing something or adding something or removing some column or transforming something. Now, it involves a set of process wherein you're talking about data cleaning, first phase, then you transform the data, and then the data is ready for integration. And then if anything is required to enrich the data, you do that. So it's not that, okay, you get a data, you directly start the process, and then you go away with the usage of data. So the data cleaning process starts, then the transformation comes into picture. Then you talk about the integration of the data on with what are you going to integrate it with. And then finally, how do we enrich this data to make it more effective? Now, why is it important? Because you need accurate data at the end of the day and reliable data. So preparation and cleansing helps us in making an accurate data. Of course, it also creates consistency in the data formats across all structure. You could have multiple sources of table or data or multiple kinds of data. So you need to create a consistent environment of data formats so that my data is, because one table would talk to the other table, one data would talk to the other table. So you need to maintain the data consistently throughout the sources. Of course, accuracy and consistency increases the efficiency of any data. So it streamlines the analysis process. Okay, so when we are trying to analyze the data, you won't have any glitches or any issues in how the data has been presented. The data preparation also becomes important because as a manager or as any company owner, he definitely would like to see the insights. How much deeper or how much meaningful insights you can produce out of your existing data, that becomes a very key point to be addressed. So keeping all this in mind, but what are the challenges that we face? It's a very huge time-consuming process, and it can't be done through a manual process, or if you have rows and rows of data, million rows of data, maybe 100 rows, okay, I can do it manual process, but still it's cumbersome. And if I have million rows of data, it's not going to be effective in doing it manually or doing it using any other process. Moreover, when I talk about traditional data preparation models, it's always error prone, because we have to agree that humans are always, not always, kind of, we always do have a 1% or 2% error prone data when we are using the human intervention. Also, the third thing, as data now is everywhere, I can assume anything as a data, I believe. Initially, we had only text data, numbers were there, only letters were there. But now, gone are those days when we are talking about data as a text or a number. We could have an image, we could have music, or we could have a video, we could have any data that is possible. So the data handling part becomes very, very difficult. So keeping all these in mind, the challenges are very much there in terms of how the data can be prepared compared to the traditional models that we had earlier. Now, what is this Power Query? We'll just have a small introduction, and then I'll take you to a small demo kind of infrastructure. Power Query is a very powerful data integration tool, and it's also can be used for a transformation as well. It comes with Power BI. It's very user friendly. It's like the GUI is extraordinarily, very brilliantly prepared. Because any user who just wants to start and learn about this particular Power BI, or maybe even how a Power Query could be used, it's very, very easier to use it. It also uses the intelligence inside for our data discovery transformation, and also to shape your data to actually what you want, and what you want the better data, the best data to be predicted or to be managed or to be presented outside. The Power Query has a wide range of data sources interconnection, wherein you can name every data that is there, or every tool that is available could be connected to this Power Query. Excel, CSV, databases, web databases, any data source could be connected very easily to this Power Query model, because it gives us tools and interfaces to easily transform or load the data into the Power BI. As I told you, the key features that we talk about in terms of data transformation is clean, shape, and transform, data integration, data profiling, and query editor. That is the last part that we will discuss about. So how do we integrate the data, and how do we combine sources, data profiling, and then finally the query editor, how you can use the query editor for building and managing data queries. Let me take you to a demo. Ma'am, I have a file. Can I try share that file so that people can work on simultaneously with me?
Sure, sir.
I have an
Sure.
Excel file. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'll share it probably in chat window.
Okay. Do you have access to the chat box, sir?
I am trying, but I don't think I'm not seeing it, so it's not there, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can share it to me. I'll share it to the participants.
Okay, ma'am. I'll share you on
Okay, sir.
WhatsApp. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a second, guys. Ma'am, can you put a message for me so that I can share it, ma'am?
Robin sir, you can send it to me, sir. You can
Okay,
Yes.
done.
you
Done,
can
done.
send it to
Okay.
me. I will share in the group. No problem.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah,
You
that
can unshare
works.
your screen if you don't want see
Okay.
others.
That's not a problem. Leave it. Okay, where is downloads? Okay. Because the screen is sharing, it becomes very slow. Okay, I'll stop sharing, then I'll come back again.
That's good, sir.
Very slow. Ravindra, have you received? Ravindra, have you received? I've shared it.
Yeah, I received. I am sharing to the participants. Just a minute, sir.
Okay. So you can download Power BI Desktop. If you have, you can directly work with me. Those who don't have, you can download Power BI Desktop. We have versions from desktop also, and we have also the online version also is available. So I've shared an Excel file.
Yeah, the
which will
data has
be-
been shared to the participants, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Dear
Thank you.
participants, you can download the file in the WhatsApp group.
You can use that particular file because I've there are many mistakes that I've made, so that I can show you the real working on how the data can be cleansed, so and data can be managed. So how do we go about? I have a Power BI desktop. Can I proceed? I need a S or confirmation from you guys if you have downloaded the data and if you have Power BI desktop or Power BI online version.
The data is also available in the chat window.
So those who want to do with me can do it. So once you get this Power BI desktop window, so there is an option here which says get data from other sources, right? So whatever data source you have, you can use it. So when you click on it, it will tell you all the data sources. You can see here, there is a plethora of data sources that you have. Any type of data source can be imported based on whatever data you have. It could be a text file, it could be a JSON file, PDF, etc., etc. So today, for simplicity's sake, and to understand how cleansing can be done, I'll take an Excel, this one. So first you need to connect to this particular tool, which is the Excel tool that you have. I'm going to connect it. So it's going to ask me which is the file that you want to use for your. I'm selecting the file that I had shared with you, DataCo. Okay, it takes a bit of time to load in because there is around 15,000 or 20,000 records are there. So it takes a bit of time to load in. Just wait for the data to load in. My data is loaded. So you have to select sales data. Click on that particular button. You will be able to get your data on your screen. So the data is loaded. You will be able to see the first 1,000 records kind of thing. So click on load. So after that, the data gets loaded into the Power BI window. Again, it takes a bit of time. So you can see that it's creating the connection model, loading the data for our work. Now, you are not able to see the data here. You can see on the left side, you have these options here, which is one for the report. The other one is for the table view and for the model view, right? So we will use this table view. So now the data is loaded in my, you can see here. So data has so many rows and columns. There are plenty of rows and columns available. There are some data which is erroneous data in there, so that I can work and show you on how a data can be cleansed out in this environment. Now, when we are talking about cleansing, here I have only loaded the table window. Now, I cannot do any changes, or I will not be able to work on the data as such from this particular view that you have now. So to make sure that this particular data can be transformed or cleansed, we need to use the Power Query Editor. So to go to the Power Query Editor, so we need to go to Home, and then we have to say Transform Data. So now you can see that it's opening up Power Query Editor window. You are able to see, I hope. It's a Power Query Editor window, which allows you to cleanse your data, prepare it well for your preparation. Now, if you can see, the moment you are able to get the Power Query window, The top ribbon is amazing. We have all options available here. It's like a GUI wherein you can play around with any options that you have. And the names are very clearly given in terms of what that particular this tool would do. That itself, you can see that. For example, choose columns, remove columns, keep rows, remove rows, split a column. We can use group by. Then we can also use find out replace values with an existing value from an existing value. Right? There are plenty of tools available. Right? So this is actually a column here wherein you are actually able to see the values in that particular. Now, when I go here, I'm able to see, if you can see here, how many rows are there in the first 1,000 rows are actually normally loaded inside the box. And subsequently, if you want to see the other values, okay, it will be available for you. But the first 1,000 values are going to be loaded in your screen for your visuals. Now let's see. I want to remove a column, for example. Right. So if I click on this particular data, you can also see here, when I click on transform, view here. So I will go by screen, this one. View is another important way, menu wherein you will be able to see the quality of your data, the profile of your data. Let's go one by one. I will show the column profile, for example. I click on this particular column and I'm trying to show you the column profile. You can see there, it's giving you a statistics of how many rows are there and how many error-prone rows are there, how many empty rows are there, how many distinct values are there, how many unique values are there, and approximately other functions are also displayed in that particular profile. So if I want to remove a column, you can just say there, okay, transform, and then you can select, right click, as you are right clicking in all your options that you have. The same option is available. You can remove. I don't want to remove any columns now. So you can remove a column straight away from this. Just say remove column, because if you feel that particular column is not going to or required for your data modeling concept, or if that particular column is not relevant for your data preparation, then you can remove it. So I can select multiple columns also. I can select using the control. I can select multiple columns and keep deleting the columns. That is also possible. Then imagine I want to delete 100 columns and I want to keep the 10 columns or whatever columns that you are going to have. We have an option called remove other columns. So I can select 10 columns and it would remove the other 90 columns that are available, and we can do the other vice versa. So according to your requirement, you can remove a particular column, or using the option called remove other columns, you can remove the other columns that are delete the other 90 columns that are not relevant for your data preparation model. So this is the first thing I want to tell you. We could also use the duplicate column to make another column for you if you feel that, okay, if by having another column, your data preparation would help you in modifying or presenting a very effective presentation. So that is the first option. So you can remove a column using the remove option. You can remove other columns, because when we talk about huge data, you could have multiple rows which you may remove, or you may require multiple rows and you may not have the other multiple rows which is not required. So accordingly, you could use it to remove a particular column or remove other columns to remove a bulk of columns that you don't want to be part of your model. Similarly, we could also duplicate a column according to the requirement of your data. Let's move on to the next one, checking for data types. Now, you can have, if you can see here, the one data that I have selected is actually date. You could see here. Okay. So accordingly, If I want to change a particular column's data type, it's according to your requirement. Of course, you need to go back to your team and ask them whether this particular data needs to be converted into text format, or this particular date to be converted into a date format. So all those things you can do it. So according to the requirement of your project specifics, you need to look at how you are going to do it. Now, something that is called as detect data type, wherein you will be able to tell. And before I move on, I would want you to pay attention to my right side window, wherein you can see that it is saying applied steps. So whatever steps we are doing in this particular data is actually recorded here. It goes on recording in this particular place. And if at all I don't want that particular, it's like in undo or redo, right? So you can undo this particular process by clicking on this particular cross button, and then cross, and then that particular process, whatever I have done can be reverted back. That also is possible here, right? So this keeps this window. The applied steps is something like you keep track of like a stack, wherein all the processes are, whatever operations I am doing are going to be displayed there one by one. So using this data type, I can check my data type. I can also what kind of data I want to change. I can change that particular data type according to my requirement. So I can maybe, for example, I want to change. This one is going to be your primary key. Let's take up maybe date, and I want to change it to maybe say text. Okay, so it's asked you change the current column type. If I say replace current, it automatically replaces that into this particular date into a text format. So it again depends on your project and your usage of that particular column in your this one, how you're going to use it, whether you wanted to use it as a date data type, or whether you wanted to use it as a text data type, or any other data type for that matter. That is the second one. So data types cleaning, I can use this particular, I can change it or I can modify it according to my requirement, whichever data type is required. Now comes removing duplicate values. So I can also remove duplicate values from my column, but there is again, you need to define, because the primary key and the foreign key again plays the connection between the other tables, as well as the main primary key plays a valid. I will not be able to remove the primary key directly like that, or maybe an interconnecting foreign key like that. So we need to remove the duplicate values according to whatever the requirement of a particular project is there. Now, I go to the, how do I do that? You go to transform. You go to view, and then you click on the column profile. Okay, I'll again do it. So now let's see if any columns are having duplicate values. Maybe I'll take up customer name, first name. You can see here distinct and unique. I don't have any unique values here. Okay, let's see here. Unique values. Don't have to. Okay. Here too. So nevertheless, based on your column profile, will give you an idea on what data you are going to be using, and based on that, you can remove or modify that particular data as per your requirement based on the column profile values. So you can use it to remove the values, duplicate values, right, whenever it's required. Okay, but again, I always say that you have to go back to your data preparation or your data team, whether this particular value needs to be removed or not. So I can straight away right click on that particular value, and then I may able to remove that particular value according to your requirement. Now you have to look at your foreign key as well as your primary key, whether if it is going to be making any relevance when you are going to remove this particular data or not. So that's again, you have to define based on your data. Okay, now we'll move to the next part. How do I merge columns? So when I want to merge a column, it's the same thing that you are doing it in Excel. Just select. For example, I want to merge these two columns, which are customer name, first name, and customer last name. Okay. So I will select these two columns. And I go to Control and select. Okay. Then you go to transform. And then you will be able to see here merge columns. Where is it? Merge columns. Okay. Okay, I have selected both the columns now. You can see here, merge columns is here, right? So when you ask for merge columns, you'll ask for the separator that you are going to have. So I could have colon, comma, equal sign, semicolon, space. You could have also a custom option on how or what should be between the customer first name and the last name. Maybe I'll say a hyphen. Okay. I can say a hyphen here. Okay. So new column name, you can give it merged or whatever it is, merged FN and LN. If I say OK, now you can see that it is creating a column which is merged in terms of the first name and the second name. I can again split this particular column. That's what I'm trying to come now. So you select this particular data. Again, you can split this particular data based on the requirement that you have. Where is my split column? Here. So you can use it by delimiter, by lowercase to uppercase. So I'm using it by delimiter. So the custom delimiter is coming automatically in. Split, if you are saying leftmost delimiter, it will only retain the left value. Rightmost delimiter means it will retain the rightmost value. So if I say each occurrence of the delimiter, and I also have something called as an advanced option. Whether you want to split it into columns or you want to rows, number of columns you want to split it into. Yeah. So all these options are advanced available. You can use it according to your requirement. So whether you want to split it into columns, how many columns you want to split it into, it could be 3, 5, according to your requirement of the data. So I'm saying that each occurrence of the delimiter. Okay. So now again, if you can see here, it's split into first name and the merged second name, right? It's come here. So accordingly, we can change the names of this particular field also here by double clicking on that, right? You can see here, the column name can be changed as well. So we can rename that particular column according to the requirement of our field. So I will remove this one, remove column. It removes that particular column that I have created again. Okay, so according to your requirement, the data can be split, the data can be, or the columns can be merged. So in order to satisfy the requirement of your data model. So whatever data model is your requirement is there, you can split. You can see on my right side, whatever I've changed or whatever actions I've done is already populated in the window that I talked about, applied steps. It's one by one, it is applying up there. So renaming columns also I've told. Okay. Now, any data, the presence of a null value is very plays a very crucial value, because when you are trying to cleanse or when you are trying to make sure your data is clean and prepared well for presentation or for in the transformation, null values are always available in many databases, right? So now how, or should this null value exist? Or if I talk about a primary key, you may not have null values in your primary keys. You should not have, rather. But a foreign key could have null values provided the connectivity is there. But you could have a combination of composite foreign key which can be used to connect two values. Now, so based on this, dealing with null value, let me take up customer name. Okay, let's check if there are null values. I'm going to search here. There are no null values there, I believe. Okay. Let's check. Here also there is no null values there. Okay. So you can use again to find out whether this particular any null values are there. You can go to your view and then you can again click on column quality. Now you can see here whether there are any empty values. It could be specific. You can see the quality of your data is defined here on the top, which is going to show you all the values which are empty or which is going to be null out there. So here we have null values in there. So let's take up null values. Okay, so these values are null values. Now, normally null values are always removed, but still I can't remove only this particular value here. I need to remove it on the column side, but subject to whether I can remove this particular null value has to be decided by the team, wherein you are going to identify whether this column plays a very crucial role in identifying or using your data meticulously. Now, if that particular data requires to be null, then it's okay to have null values. But if your data is not going to be of any use having those values as null, because here the sales value is null. It can't be null sales value. So now either we have to send this data back and identify what are these null values, whether they were really null at that particular point of time, or this values are needs to be replaced. Then you have to look at replacing those values before you start the process of using this particular data in your data model. This is another point I would like to make, wherein if you have null values and if this data requires the presence of null value, then it is fine. But if it says that this particular null values are not going to be of any use, then you may have to cleanse this data by sending this data back to the person or the data preparation team or the data originating team, wherein you may have to look at modifying these particular values to the actual values or removing these values as such. But in the removing process, you may not be removing it as individual column, rather you would be removing it row wise, so that that particular full row can be data can be removed. Now, I told you data quality, I've already shown you. Then replacing values. You can also replace the values of a particular column by clicking on that particular value. Maybe, for example, I want to replace a particular value, say, okay, where is that? Okay. Let's take up category name. Let's see if you have values that can be replaced there. Customer name. Let's take up additional items here. Okay. Women's apparel. Okay. So for example, if I have a value which is going to be saying here, women's apparel, maybe I missed an S here, an apostrophe here, and maybe I could have like datas which are actually same data, but by data entry point of time, at any point of time, a data entry point of time, they have missed out that particular S or apostrophe. That becomes as two categories of data, which are not, which won't be very proper data for in terms of how the data is going to be used. So in that case, we will be have to use a replace value, okay, to change those values accordingly. So you can categorize that particular value. You can select that value using right click, and then the option comes there to replace values. So you can replace that particular value by merging them. For example, I want to replace a particular item here. So first we can select it, say for example, a shop, sport. Okay, I may be able to replace the value of this to some other value. Okay, so value to find, say I can need to copy that. It should be by sport. Maybe I say shop. Okay. So it gets replaced there. And you can see here in the applied step column, it gets added up as a replaced value. I can remove that. As I told you, I can remove that. It can be again come up. Okay, I'll go one further step. Okay, so it will just be like a stack wherein you just keep on undoing it until we reach the point of the data that you are going to. Then formatting of data. That also is there, wherein you can cleanse your data by formatting that particular data. You go to transform, right? So you can see here, there is a lot of options here available, which is converting the data into lowercase. Sometimes some data will be populated as uppercase, some data with lowercase, because at any point of time, human intervention is there. So data can have lot of kinds of data. So it could be that I may have to change it to either a lowercase, uppercase, or capitalizing the first word, trimming it, cleaning it. So all these options are available in transform, wherein you can cleanse your data, okay, or format your data using this particular option in called transform. Then fill values is also another option where you can fill a value forward, or you can fill a value up or down. So from this particular point of time, I want to fill a value here. You would be using fill up. And then if you want to fill it down, you could have that particular option of filling it down. So now these are some of the options. There are plenty of other options available in the Power Query. So according to your requirement of whatever you feel, I've just given you a very brief idea on how Power Query can be used, okay, in terms of effectiveness, right? So you can also see here, there is an option for you to write your own formula as well, or your query as well, rather, not a formula, your query, right? Wherein if you're well versed in your query languaging processing, so you can also write your queries here, wherein which could be used for, okay, you can write a program or a query here to cover up all these options by using your language. So it's a very simple model here, the Power Query language, right? You could use, it's a similar to any SQL language that you have, but you have some options and some syntax and notations available, which you could use directly here to make sure that the data in this particular area is made to be better. Okay, so any doubts, any questions? Praveen? Hello? Anybody there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I've given a brief introduction. Any questions, any queries in this one?
Dear participants, if you have any queries, you can please post it to the session expert.
You can keep working on this particular model and try to understand and explore more by going into these options that are available in terms of transform and view, right? So it's a very useful tool wherein you can use it for your own data, even for a query of your university or maybe where you are working as in a smaller organization. You just import your data and you play around with this particular tool, Power Query, and then you try to explore things and then try to see how effectively or how simple it is. It's rather very easy tool to use and transform data and to prepare the data for your data model or any process that you are going to use it further.
Dear participants, if you have any queries, please you can raise your hands so that we will unmute your mic.
So Praveen,
Yes,
hello.
sir.
I think probably I've done given a small introduction on brief on how data can be prepared. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
still
Yes, sir.
it can be explored well. Yeah. So if there are no questions, yeah.
Yeah, I will unmute M. Anandaraj sir has raised the hand. Just a
Hello,
minute.
sir.
Yeah. You can, ma'am. Yeah.
Sir, you have told that in the sales column there are many null values. So, can you
Yeah.
tell how to transform that null values into the appropriate data?
Null values, you mean, ma'am? Okay.
In
See,
sales column there are many 2% null values by
yeah.
identifying the column quantity. So, we
Yeah.
have identified that 2% are
You
empty
have
values.
to use the replace mechanism, ma'am. You have to identify those null values. Either you replace it by a value if you are knowing it, but directly replacing won't be a good idea. You need to really work on your data from the data source who has sent you the data. And if the data is really null, then you can replace it because as I told you, data is very, very crucial. If you change or modify your data, you're going to be in trouble because you may have millions of records. So you have to go back to your team which has given you the data and really find out if that is a null value. Then you can use the replace option by choosing that particular value, and then you can change it.
Okay,
But I
sir.
would
Thank you,
advise
sir.
you not to replace it directly here in the system. You go back to the team which has given you the data, look at the data, then you can change it.
Thank you, sir.
Please mute yourself. Others are asking the questions. Others can please mute. One by one, you can ask the query to sir.
Ma'am, I hope I clarified. Anand, Rajan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, I'm Anand Raj, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in your data you have just shared, for example, order quality. It has numbers starting from 1 to 5.
Okay.
Now, if I want to classify this data into two categories, that one which has greater than 3 and then lesser than 3. If I want to mark it as 1 and 0.
Okay.
How to define formula and then to produce a new column, sir. Can you understand me, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Again, come again.
Any number greater than 3 and
Okay.
number lesser than 1,
Uh-huh.
I have to mark it as 1 and 0
Okay.
to classify the group.
Uh-huh.
So how to create it in the Power Query, sir?
So you have to use this the query here window here, sir, wherein you are going to select that particular column. Yeah.
Order
And
quality.
yeah, this one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have to use this edit query. Okay. And then you can put the query here in terms of what you want to change in terms of your order quality. Where is it? Order quality. Yeah. Okay. And then in the query here, you can write the formula based on what values you want to retain and what values you want to modify according to your requirement of the formula. You don't want 1, or you want to modify this 1s into 3s, or 1 greater than 3. So
No,
you
no,
just
sir.
need to write it. Yeah.
I want to create a new column for
Uh-huh.
order quality where, for example, the quality, if it is lesser than 3, it should be 0. And if the quality is greater than 3, it should be 1.
So you'll have to write the formula. You need to create the column here, sir. And that particular column, you need to
Okay.
write a formula which transforms this value into this particular column.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Dear participants, any other questions?
Yeah, Dr. Rohit.
Hello.
Dr. Rohit, how does it compare with IBM Tableau?
It is a similar tool. It's from Microsoft. That's from IBM. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on which one you're going to use it according to your requirements, sir.
Okay.
If you see, you have to pay for IBM query. For the IBM Tableau, right, sir?
Right.
Yep. That's the answer for you.
Because we are working on product management here.
Yeah, I understood, sir. So if your organization is ready to, but maybe when I talk about organization level, people you normally go in for Tableau and all. Yeah, because it's an expensive tool that you have to use. But both are data preparation tools, which helps us in clean. Both does the same job.
Achha, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
One more difference I would like to tell is the integration part of Tableau with respect to Microsoft. I am not sure so much, because Tableau in preparation is actually a standalone tool, I believe. Hope that clarifies, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else for the question? Dear participants, any other questions?
Sir, how to add a column, sir, adjacent to it? So, for
Add a
example,
column, huh?
yeah, yes, sir. In between, for example, order query and then sales.
Here, add column tab, sir. Here it is there, na? Add column tab is there here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. You can put a conditional column also here. So this is one I think probably you were asking earlier.
Yeah,
na?
yeah, yes, yes. That's
Conditional column, you can add it based on your condition. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So, sir, I hope you're done from your end, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I believe all the participants, the doubts are cleared from sir's end and all of you are happy with the answers. Can we conclude the session? Done. Thank you. All right, so let me propose the word of thanks. Thank you
Yep.
very much, sir, for such an engaging and informative session. Your expertise and in-depth knowledge of Power Query have provided us a clear understanding and how to efficiently handle the data. Also, thank you very much for your patience in answering our participants' questions and encouraging a learning environment. Special thanks to all our participants for your active involvement throughout the session. We look forward for the same or more active sessions ahead. Also, I thank the entire organizing team for this opportunity and support throughout. Thank you all and have a good night.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
ma'am.
Robin, sir, for the
Thank you.
engaging
sir.
session. It
Thank you,
was
sir.
really worth attending your session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Dear participants, thank you for attending day 2 sessions, both the session. So I'll be sharing the recording, everything through communication channel, recordings as well as the materials from the resource person as well. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Tomorrow we shall meet again at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good night.